If there is one safety feature that you need to keep and use on your table saw, it's the riving knife. I'm going to show you why in this video, and if you're still on the fence about it or you don't use yours, leave me a comment and tell me, why you don't use it, why you don't think it's important. Maybe your saw doesn't allow you to do certain things. I'm curious. It is my belief that if you follow certain guidelines and you are careful when using a table saw, you could go an entire lifetime without getting seriously injured on one of these. And one of the first line of defenses is using your riving knife. A riving knife is a safety device installed on your saw, and it's generally used in woodworking. Attached to the saw arbor, it is fixed relative to the blade and moves with it as the blade is adjusted to different positions. Its main function is to prevent kickback. Kickback can cause serious injuries. It can shoot a board at you with great speed or pull your hand over the saw blade. And that's never a good situation to have. The knife is usually slightly thinner than your saw blade. Various conditions can cause a board to move or twist. If there is no knife back there as the saw blade is spinning, it can catch the wood on the back side as the blade is spinning up, causing numerous problems for the operator. Let's try to avoid numerous problems for the operator when it comes to the table saw, all right? I have never had a reason not to use my riving knife, ever. You can see in any of my past videos, I don't use certain safety devices. I don't use my big bulky guard that came with my table saw. I don't use the anti-kickback pawl that came with my table saw. And I would never tell you to use a safety device or so forth that I don't use myself, but one that I always use is the riving knife. And the reason why is there's no reason not to, at least with my saw. I don't know about your saw, and that's why I'm curious what comments this brings out. Mine is fully adjustable. Mine is adjustable for through cut, non-through cut. I generally leave mine on non-through cuts because it doesn't make a difference. There's no reason to have it on through cut and then just have to change it down. It works both ways. But regardless, I always have my riving knife on there when I'm making these cuts. Now, there is one obvious reason not to use your riving knife, and that's when you're using a dado stack. A dado stack, you can't apply your riving knife. And it makes no sense anyways because it's a non-through cut. It's not even needed for that type of cut. So that is when I remove my riving knife for dado stacks. But I guarantee you when I put that cutting through cut blade on, I'm putting the riving knife back on with it. Now, not to cover kickback too much in this video because that's not really why I made the video. Main reason was the riving knife. But I am going to go ahead and tell you a couple other easy, simple methods to use to prevent kickback that you should be doing anytime you're on the shop using your table saw. And number one, using a feather board to guide your cut. Just make sure to keep the feather board in front of the blade so not to pinch the blade in the back. Feather board works great, keeping your board up against the fence, and this can also help in preventing kickback. It also keeps some pressure on the board so not to shoot out at you, at least not as fast. Number two, never ever use your miter gauge and your fence in combination on a through cross cut. This is a big no-no. Unless you have a spacer at the beginning of your fence or it's a non-through cut. Otherwise, it can bind between the blade and the fence very easily and again, cause you some serious problems. That's probably like one of the biggest no-nos that I can think of on a table saw, other than just flat out putting your hand on the blade. Now, none of this is going to help you if you go and get in a hurry, you lose focus, you cut corners that you shouldn't cut, or you're using the table saw while using mind-altering substances. That's a no-no. I seriously, before every single cut, I kind of plan it. It doesn't take long. The saw's off. I think about how my cut's going to be. I might even, practice the cut. I may have the saw blade all the way down. I'll run the board through, see if it's going to get awkward on me through it. I mean, these are for larger boards, stuff, small boards I still think about, and I make sure my spacer's right. I just make sure I think about it before I make the cut. If you do that and you're careful and you don't get complacent, you should be good on a table saw. I hope this helps somebody out there. Y'all, stay frosty. I'll see you next time.